All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sports Junkies podcast. We are 2 days away from the Seattle Kraken expansion draft. That's Franco. I'm Joey. We're talking
Yeah,
strictly expansion draft today. Franco, how you doing?
that's all we're doing today. We're doing good, man.
Good,
Excited.
good. Glad
Excited.
to hear you're doing well. Yeah, it's a pretty fun time of year for all guys who have ever played NHL, the video game, because like this is BAGM mode from the start. Like this is
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
it. This is how you build your team and stuff like that. So I thought it would be pretty interesting to do, obviously, as a longer episode, kind of as our podcast episode.
yeah. We haven't done one in
Any
a while.
I know we haven't done it in a little while. We
So,
did a couple quick hits there, but we haven't done a longer video in a little while.
yeah.
So thank you for being patient, those of you who are with us. And I guess we'll start pretty quick here. Just any thoughts about? It doesn't have to be about like Carey Price or anything like that. Any thoughts about the draft coming up? Is there anything you think that we don't know yet? Because it is Monday right now, Monday 7 p.m. So we do have 24, almost 48
Yeah,
hours, a little bit less than
yeah.
48 hours, probably 40 hours until the team
I
is
don't know.
announced or something.
It was like what last week and this weekend that passed was pretty hectic. There was a lot of
Yeah,
trade.
all over the NHL. Yeah, not
I
just in
know.
Habs. Yeah,
So I think there's more shit to come that's gonna like come out of left field. It's gonna be like, what?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Wednesday is gonna be the day when we're just gonna get hit one after another with what the fuck. Like it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be. I'm expecting a lot of like weird stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, Ron Francis is the GM of the Kraken. For those of you who
Yeah,
don't know who Ron Francis is, I think he's top 20 in scoring all time or something like that. And he's a
good
legend
player.
of the game and a really fantastic player. So he knows his hockey, and he definitely has a team around him that knows their hockey as well.
Mhm.
One of the owners, Mitch Garber, being from Montreal as well. So that was a little something I wanted to mention, just in case people were like, "Ah, no, they don't want Carey Price," right? Like that. I'm like, well, pretty much any team in the league would take Carey Price. So
Yeah,
that's going to be a big topic of discussion. We haven't decided yet if we're going to take him on the team or not. This is fully live for your entertainment only.
yeah,
We just wanted to make sure there was a few rules that we followed, because otherwise it would kind of get a little bit hectic. So you're drafting 30 players, one from each team.
Mm,
Basically, the two rules that we set up was you have to take guys that have these little green check marks. Obviously, shout out to our friends at Cap Friendly, who literally are probably the best hockey website on the internet
yeah.
right now. That doesn't talk about analytics, that just gives you information about everything. These guys are A1. So if you don't know about them already, which if you're a hockey fan, I have no idea how you don't know about them, but check them out. They've got a lot of stuff. They got tools. They can do mock drafts. You can do all kinds of stuff. They have a mode called Armchair GM. You can do fake trades, and there's a forum, and people could talk. Anyway, great site. We're
Really
using their
cool.
we're using their system.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood kind of how this works. So there's a requirement of games played. There's a little check mark here. Those who are in green, highlighted in green, are as you can see there, they meet or they are projected to meet the exposure requirements. So those are the guys we're going to focus on. I'll give you an example. There's a guy by the name of Alexander Ovechkin that's going to be a UFA that has met all the requirements, but he's a UFA, so he doesn't meet the exposure requirements
Yeah,
necessarily.
you can still
They
take him.
do they can technically take him and try to sign him, but I don't think that that's going to happen. There are some guys that I think they can do that and then trade their rights or something, but I don't think that's going to happen with guys like Ovechkin. So we're going to limit it to, what did we say, six?
Yeah, we said
So
six UFAs and RF.
six six UFAs, and one of them's already going to be taken. That being Chris Drieger, we're going to go there right away
We'll do it
and
right
put him
now.
on the list because, as Elliot Friedman reports here, we're pretty much sure that he's going to be a Kraken. Is that a thing? He's going to
Yeah,
be a Kraken.
Kraken.
So that's basically what's going to happen. So we're going to put Chris Drieger. We're going to lock that in right away. Obviously, the cap hit is going to be different, but that's the second rule that we're going to mention. In Cap Friendly, they have a max cap hit, but they also have a projected cap hit, and you'll see that on the next page, which I think you can see here. So it's going to tell you how much your projected cap space is, even though this number will certainly be larger than this number. So we're trying to aim for probably under 90 million or under like 88 million. So if you go over by a few million in our
Yeah, it's
draft, it's
fine.
probably going to be okay because you have to remember that they're drafting 30 players and they can only dress 23 at a time. So 7 players are not going to be on the salary cap. Um, just kind of how that's going to work this year. So if you're a little bit over, it's not the end of the world. You're probably going to be okay. So with that said, let's draft the team. I think we're gonna.
Where do we start?
Go in alphabetical. I think we're gonna go in alphabetical
Yeah,
order.
alphabet.
I was gonna go with like obvious choices first, but I think we're gonna go individually each team, and then we'll come back and if there's anything that we think is different, then we'll make a. I don't know who your original pick was, but I kind of went back and I went back and forth with like 4 players.
Yeah, Anaheim was tough because it was like I don't
Like
know.
there's no superstars. There's no guys that are amazing that you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna take them on my team any day of the week. You look at Adam Henrique; he's a great player, but at 5.8 at the age of 31, I don't think it's somebody that you're going to be looking at to expand.
No.
Shattenkirk at 3.9, reasonable cap hit, but he's 32, and is that somebody you want on your blue line? Probably not. For me, basically, I went. My gut instinct was telling me either Sonny Milano or Hayden Fleury. Those were my 2, and then I had also Jacob Larson because he is a year younger. So I don't know if you had a completely off the board pick.
No, like
those were.
I kind of did a kind of like a draft last week too, just to see like how it is.
Yeah.
And with Anaheim, I picked Hayden Fleury. He was my obvious choice.
I think that's a reasonable choice. He's not necessarily a point producer, but at the cap hit that he's at right now, with being an RFA next year, like they can still sign him. They still have his rights. And he's $400,000 cheaper than Sonny Milano. You don't know. That'll be maybe at the end of the day. That'll make a difference. And I think he's just a solid bottom pair.
Play left,
maybe
right.
A 7th defenseman if they have enough people, and he plays both sides. Yes. So I think that's kind of we're on the same page with that one.
Yeah.
Already at 2.15 cap hit, guys.
Arizona.
Okay.
This is like, what do you do?
This I in my opinion, it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
because I like Tyler Pitlick. I've seen him play a couple times. I think he's a decent player. So that's who I would pick pretty much.
Wow.
Right off the bat, yeah. I didn't really think about this one too much.
He's 29 at 1.75.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, Vegas is 5 years down the line now, and how many players they have left from their expansion?
Yeah, you're right. See, look, I went with Christian Fisher.
Because he's an RFA. He's younger. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Next year his contract is expiring. He's younger. He's only at $1 million.
We could do a little. We could do a little comparison, maybe, if you want.
Yeah, he played. He had a good. If I'm not mistaken, he had a good season. He wasn't bad, but
what's his first name? Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we think here. So he is 24. He's our age. Fisher.
Oh boy.
He looks a lot older than that, but hey, it is what it is.
Oh, you had a
Tyler Pitlick had 38 games played.
Oh, they did.
He had 11 points. I mean, Arizona had a bad team, but I mean,
look at their
11 points.
Can you see the previous?
Yeah, the previous years. Yeah. So Pitlick in an 80 game season will get you 20, 30 points.
If you're lucky.
But he's a bottom 6 guy, but he kind of does the right things, and he's a veteran. He's been in the league for a while.
Yeah.
I guess you could say Christian Fisher pretty much has the same amount of games played, and he's only 24. I guess there is an argument to be made. They're both very high second round picks. First in the second round and second in the second round, so 31st and 32nd.
Wow.
Obviously, Pitlick is 29, and Fisher's 24. Now, if there's not that much separating, then you know what? Maybe I do go with Christian Fisher, but I think Pitlick is kind of the safer pick for me.
Yeah. So take him.
But if you want to save yourself $750 for the cap, I think that's a decent pick. I mean, because their offensive output is almost the same.
It's the same. They'll
just that Christian Fisher played a couple more games.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure. We'll save ourselves $750 on the cap. Let's do that then.
Yes, sir.
If Chalmerson wasn't this old, I would have picked him because I think he's a phenomenal defenseman.
Yeah.
Just kind of as a side note, these guys are a little bit difficult as well. I kind of went. Go ahead.
No, I said actually it wasn't that hard for Boston.
Who'd you take?
I took Jeremy Lauzon.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. I think I went with Curtis Lazar in my original one. Shout out to my boy Callum Booth, by the way, who was a teammate of mine back in 2012, 2013.
A long time ago.
A little while ago, yeah. Yeah, I can see Lozon. I mean, he's a
He's
defenseman.
like
It's
he
always
stepped
good to load up on defensemen.
yeah, he stepped up big with Boston in the playoffs. He was playing top minutes when
Yeah, he's
you know,
he's a big
so
body too, so physical as well. He's not, he
I
won't
like
get your points, but it'll be,
no, but
a
I
guy who can
like
get you. Yeah,
how he
sure, that's
played.
fine.
Or
That's fine. I have no problem with that.
or Andre Kasha looks nice as an RFA at 2 points. I don't
Yeah, they
know.
have to, but they would have to sign him. So
Yeah, or
that's one of those picks. Do you use one of your
yeah,
one? We'll see. Well, maybe we'll keep Lowe's on for now, and we'll see if we have
yeah,
one, if we have
definitely.
cap space, and two, if we have picks left.
Or they could just trade his rights after. Like that's
They
another
could.
thing.
They could. How about these guys?
Buffalo.
Buffalo
Oof.
Sabres. This one's kind of a little bit difficult. Um, I kind of wanted to pick Cody Eakin just so he could be picked twice for for expansion teams.
Yeah,
I think honestly, I would probably go with Gergensons because I think he's a big body. He's got offensive upside. Like he can score a goal if you need him to
it's
score a goal once in a while.
3 years left.
Um, he's got a few years left on his contract. It's a very very friendly contract. For,
Yeah, I
a
think that's a
third or
good.
fourth line center is probably a
Yeah,
decent pick. I don't really like Colin Miller's contract.
yeah.
Jake McCabe is a guy that maybe I would look to sign, but
He's a
yeah,
UFA, but
yeah,
like
exactly. And he'll be more expensive than Gergensen
there's so
anyway.
many
So
better options.
yeah. Calgary, you get to pretty
Um,
much one of my, I mean, obvious picks. I don't know if I know you said that maybe he won't want to play on a team that's like that,
yeah,
but for me, I mean, whether he wants to
Mark
play or not,
Giordano
I'm taking Giordano. I don't really care.
as your
Uh,
captain.
maybe not as my cap. I mean, Vegas didn't have a captain first year.
Yeah,
I don't expect Seattle to have a
no,
captain unless there's like somebody who's really,
just saying like
obvious.
leadership wise,
Leadership
he's
wise, great in the
yeah,
room. I mean, he's a professional anyway. I mean, he's going to be in the West. It's not like he's moving so far away from his family. If he doesn't play, fine. I'll
he's
trade his
actually
rights or
moving to a better
whatever.
city. He's moving to a better city.
From Calgary to Seattle, you
Yeah,
mean? Hey, don't
yeah,
shit on Calgary too much,
yeah.
man. The
It's
weather's a
nothing
little
to
nicer.
do.
But listen, you got to think about family and all that stuff. Either way,
Yeah,
regardless, Giordano's got 1 year left. If he doesn't want to play, if he wants to play the next year in a team that's better, well, either he can get traded at the
yeah,
deadline,
exactly.
or he can sign the next year if he wants to play when he's 38. For me, it's got to be Giordano. I don't see anybody else on this
No,
team that
not
I would
either.
pick.
I don't see them taking
Brett
Lucic.
Ritchie, I mean, it's not going to happen for me. No goalies. I mean, my goalies are pretty much set, aside from tossing up in the air Price maybe. But other than that, my goalies are pretty much set. So
Yeah, it's good. Calgary's good.
let's do Carolina.
Yeah,
Be crazy if they signed Dougie Hamilton and got like Nino Niederreiter. For me, it's Nino Niederreiter.
yeah.
I think for me, he's got enough upside, and he's been in the
Uh-huh.
league long enough, and he can easily play on a second or third line with not much of an issue. He's a middle six forward.
Hmm.
I think he's got a shot, and he's got body weight to throw around. So
He's,
for me, it's
he's
him. I don't know if there's anybody else that you.
he's good. I actually went with Jake Bean. I
Yeah,
used
that
one
was
of.
the only other guy that I was thinking of, but again,
I
he's
know
one
he's
of
an
our
RFA,
RFAs. Yeah,
but like
and he's underperformed his expectations for
he's
the
a
most
good.
part.
He's a good. Like I would take a chance on him, but we could take.
Yeah, my only, I guess as a GM, the only thing I'm thinking
Mm,
is, do I take a chance on Jake Bean or do I go with an almost sure bet to Nino Niederreiter?
yeah,
Right, that's the only two things. Yes, it cost you 5.2, but like you know what you're gonna get with Nino Niederreiter. Like
mm.
you pretty much know.
Yeah, he's a good second line forward.
I mean, he is a good second line forward. He could play on a third line if you want to be more physical. He's
Yeah,
he's not he's not a small guy. 6'2", 218. So
he put up good.
he's got all the tools. He could put up 50
Like he
points. He
scored.
could put up 40 points pretty easily. Like he hasn't played a complete season in a little while because he's been
Mm.
traded, and because he's been actually this is the same year. So
But or else
when he got,
look at him in Minnesota. It's 20 goals.
yeah, I mean he's a 20 goal scorer. For me, if you're
Yeah,
gonna, I mean even this year he was a 20 goal
yeah,
scorer.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
and in 56 games. So to me, 20 goals, I'm putting them on my team. Like there's not
yeah,
much of a for me. There's not much of a debate.
yeah. I think you take him. Yeah.
I get the Jake Bean idea, but it's just like it's like almost 20 guaranteed goals. Like Jake Bean is not guaranteed goals.
No.
So for me, that's probably the thing. This is where I would use one of my RFAs because
Yeah.
I love Zadorov. Yeah, I just love him. I think
All
he's
the
a
defensemen. Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's upside that he's RFA. I think that at 3.2, if you can get him for less than anything less than 4.5, he's like pretty solid. He's a Ben Sherrod type of guy, big hitter, can move the puck well, skates very well. Um, he was a very big piece in Colorado. They traded him because they pretty much had to, not
Yeah,
because
no.
they wanted to. So, and this guy's like big hits. I said Sherrod,
Oh,
but
he
I mean
lines people up.
he hits
Yeah, I
almost
know,
like
I know.
Emelin used to hit guys.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that. This is where I would waste one of
Yeah.
my free
Well,
agent
yeah,
picks there.
it's a good one.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if you have anybody. I mean, I don't really like Carpenter at 30. I definitely don't like Connolly at 3.5.
like the only one would be
Dalia might be an option. Maybe Malcolm
not
Subban
even
again.
like the only
Probably.
one would be like maybe Adam Gaudette, but he's an
Yeah, that
RFA.
was. Yeah. So it's one of these two, but I
Yeah,
think that he's got a
yeah,
better
yeah.
like he can play in a top four.
Exactly. He's a top four. So
So
now we have four. We have four UFAs, RFAs left to pick.
yeah, because we already picked the Florida one. Reminding everybody, if you're just joining us midway through the
Yeah,
video, Drieger is probably going to go to
most likely
the
90%. It's
Seattle
90%
Kraken.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're reporting it, it's pretty much done. So
Mhm.
this one is interesting because there are a few decent players. And I think I'm gonna for I mean, I'll let you go first because I don't want to spoil the.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you did, but me in
I'm definitely not
Colorado.
taking Eric Johnson. I can tell you
No, 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 me either. No,
that.
no way. I think I stayed away from defensemen with Colorado. I went with forwards.
Yeah,
I had a toss up between um, if we could get Brandon Saad cheap, but then I saw like JT Comfort at 3.5, 26 years old, 3 years
and
left
he
on his
signed for
deal.
two. Yeah, exactly 2 years.
I like that's an easy no brainer. I
Okay, good.
think we
I'm glad we're both on the same page. Let's move on.
yeah.
That's good. Okay, I didn't even. This for me again is a no-brainer. Because I
Yeah,
know what he can do, and I think it's pretty obvious that
yeah, Max Domi.
he's
You take the
he's a.
risk, and he's not
I mean,
happy.
you
He's
have
not.
to. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, this team is going to be exciting. It's going to be a new team,
Mhm.
and you'll see later on there are a couple of very highly talented forwards. I mean, even Max Domi with like a guy like Niederreiter that can score 20 goals, he's going to give him the puck.
Yeah.
Domi arguably played with less talented people in Montreal and put up 72 points, and he's
Yeah.
26. So I think that's a guy that they
Oh,
can easily afford to have on the team. Bless you.
thank you.
Anything else you want to add on Domi?
No, literally I said Seattle might as well just take the chance with Domi. If it doesn't pan out, they could trade him at deadline or move him or flip him or do anything.
Yeah, even 50% retained or whatever, like you can still
Exactly.
flip him. Like
They
someone's
could
taking Max Domi at 2.6. Sorry,
yeah.
like
Oh,
it's gonna happen.
easily, easily.
And like the other thing is like who else are you gonna take? Like that's also the other thing. Like who am I taking from this team?
Yeah.
Like
No, fucking
Stenlund.
nobody.
I don't really know who Stenlund is. I've never seen him play really, so
Nah,
I'm
there's
not
no
really gonna
way.
take the chance on that when I know that Max Domi is
Yeah,
gonna
I
put
think
up some points and
I think here in Columbus was a guarantee. They're going after
yeah,
Domi.
yeah. Okay, these guys is another one where I would waste
Yeah, same.
a pick here, and I think it's Alexiak. I'm not sure if it's the same
Mhm.
for you.
Yeah, same.
Um,
Spot
Again,
on.
another big guy, skates well, moves the
And he
puck
can move. He
well.
can move.
Yeah, so he's top six for sure, and I would even argue maybe on the right in the right situation he could be a top four. So
Yeah, he had a good season.
for sure he's an NHL defenseman. That's what I'll
Yeah.
say. Some people might want to take Bishop. I don't like
No,
him as a goaltender. I don't think he's a good goalie at all. I don't think he ever was. So sorry, shots to Ben Bishop. I don't mean to be mean, but I just never thought he was good enough to be what everyone thought he was.
great.
Detroit. This one's kind of eh.
Mm.
There's two picks for me. It's either Stetcher or Nemestikov.
Yeah,
I'm not wasting $5 million player from Detroit. Like
choice.
it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. Obviously
Sure.
not Franz Nielsen. Obviously, for me, not the Kaiser. He's a good. I mean, the Kaiser's a good defense. Don't get me wrong.
But at
He's a good
5 million, no.
but at 5 million, it's not gonna happen. The only other thing I was thinking is Juice because I really like the way he played in Washington in that Cup run. I thought he was pretty solid, and yeah. But I think I chose Stetcher. I'm not sure if you would agree, but I think it's because we already had wingers. Like I already had wingers when I got to this point, so it's like
Mm.
I'd rather just load up on defensemen, kind of like Vegas did. because defensemen
Yeah.
are kind of more valuable than forwards are in general, especially wingers.
Then they move them. Yeah, you could take Troy Stetcher. I had
Yeah.
I take Nemestikov, but take Stetcher. He's
Well,
lower on the.
we can always come back. So if you want
Yeah,
to maybe write down in your notes, we'll take Stetcher because he's 300,000 less. But we'll come back and see if we're missing a right winger that can have provide some offense. Then we'll
yeah.
go in the Mestikov too.
I put down Detroit. Okay.
Edmonton Oilers.
Oof, a lot of
This one's
defensemen
kind
here.
of
Here, I
yeah.
take a defenseman.
Also, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess you have to. So I mean, if you're gonna do this and take this defenseman, might as well change to Nemestikov because you're gonna.
yeah,
I mean, at that point, yeah. I mean, actually, we'll wait because I'm not sure. I feel like we already picked 3 right wingers. So we'll. Well, I mean, who would you take out of these guys? For me, it's Clefbaum if
yeah.
I'm taking a defenseman. If not, then it's Kyle Turris just to get a low salary guy on my team. It's one of those two
I
for me.
take Klefbom.
Okay,
My
but
guy's
I mean, he's a guy who's got very solid potential to be pretty solid, like
He was out. He was out
all year
all last.
round. He was out all year, and the year before
So
that, he had a great year. So
yeah.
obviously, you're playing with the best player in the world, but it doesn't change the fact that he had a good season.
Yeah.
Here for me, it's a forward.
Yep.
I would go with Brendan Lemieux. I just think
Yeah.
he's kind of a rat style player that you can have on your team. Who would you
Hmm.
take? Wagner?
Yeah, that was the guy that I went with.
Okay, I don't mind putting Wagner in.
He performed this season. That's why.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
did. I
he
know.
put up. He had a good season. He earned the contract, and I'm surprised he even exposed them. That's a shocker. But
Well, I mean, the Kings are not. They're loaded in young talent, but they're not
yeah,
necessarily loaded in. I mean, Grunstrom's not even a bad pick either.
yeah, I
25, like
know.
it's not terrible. But
But
I guess the upside of Wagner is he's got an extra year,
yeah, he's an extra year, and he's a year younger.
and he's a year younger, and he's RFA. So
It's up to
yeah,
you.
I
You
can
could
I can see Wagner. If we have too many right wingers, I'll come back and take like Lemieux or something.
I'll put down early.
Minnesota Wild.
Right.
This one's kind of ugly to be honest, but
Yeah,
I think I take Bukestad. I think he's a centerman. He's a
yeah,
massive guy. He's a
yeah.
massive guy. Oh no,
Wow.
sorry. Hold on a second. I forgot about their goaltender. That's who I
Oh
was
yes,
picking actually.
yes,
Is
yes, 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 yes.
Kakinen is who was
Yeah, but
my. That's who I would take.
see now the
Pretty much
problem is that
almost had rookie of the year.
yeah. See
Sorry,
the
I almost forgot that Kakinen was on the Wild. What was your argument?
see the problem is now is that you take Drieger. He's your number 2/1, right?
Yeah.
You know, you take him. He pretty much had the whole net in Minnesota. Was back and forth. Now
I
you take
well
Carey
listen.
Price. Now you have 3 starting goalies. What are you gonna do?
Trade one.
Yeah, you move one. Yeah,
And if you're taking Carey Price, then you can't move Carey Price because he's got a remove
exactly,
clause.
exactly. So that's why I don't know if you take a goalie here.
Here was my other thought kind of thing when I was going through it before is if I'm the GM, I'm taking the best possible players
From
that are
each team.
gonna that are gonna be at the lowest cap or the guys that are gonna give me the most value for what they're worth.
Hmm.
So for me, Nick Bukestad is okay, but there are other centermen that you'll see in a little bit
Yeah,
that can be picked. So for me, there are also other goalies, but for the price that Kakinen is,
yeah, it's
I
steel.
think he's worth it. And I think
Yeah,
even if he had the majority of the net, he was a rookie. He had a team that played a certain structure. Seattle's a new team. He might not play exactly how he played last year. And to have two guys, Drieger and Kakinen, who were also kind of new to the NHL scene.
hmm,
I mean, Drieger's played, 40, 45 NHL games?
yeah,
Kakinen's played, 40 NHL games?
yeah,
There's a guy later in my list that I had picked that is a guy that's a veteran, that's been around a long time, and that's a guy that I would have at the cap hit that he's at. So I would take Kakinen
yeah. Take him.
personally
Take him.
because he's kind of the most valued player. I'm gonna skip over the Habs.
We'll do that
You,
last.
we'll do this one last because
Okay.
because there's so much to talk about with the Habs. So I'm just gonna kind of get through the rest, and then we'll see first of all how much cap space we have. That's also something I wanted to express to Habs fans is that if you're super super worried about price, wait till we get to the end of this list, and you might not be as worried
Yeah.
if you don't want to lose price. So
Mhm.
let's skip over. There are a few guys that like I would think about. You know, apparently Kill Fleury is available. I'm not sure why he's available if he didn't need the
Yeah, I
games.
neither. Yeah.
Very strange. So either
Yeah.
cap friendly or everyone on Twitter has it wrong. I'm not really sure. Cap friendly is usually very good.
No, but
Maybe there's something we're missing that we don't see. Maybe because he's played a certain amount of career games.
I saw on like actual like TS non analysts, like analysts that did their own drafts, and some people had Kale Fleury.
Yeah, that's why. So we'll
Really
come
weird.
back to it. There's a bunch of guys that like. I mean, there's a bunch of guys like
Yeah.
Drouin's there, Weber's there. If you want the LTIR
Yeah.
space, like there's a bunch of different things they can do with the Canadians. So
Yeah.
we're gonna skip them for now. We'll
Let's go
come
to
back.
Nashville. Nashville is fucking loaded in forwards.
Yeah,
They're loaded.
and for me, again, I told you this before. Who else is your number one center if it's not Ryan Johansson?
Yeah. I
The only other guy is Max Domi your number one center, right? Do you want to put all that pressure on Max Domi to be a number one center?
yeah,
You think
no.
about it, you have Ryan Johansson and Max Domi in the middle. You're not the worst team in the NHL. I can guarantee you that. Like that automatically at those two centermen make you not the worst team in the NHL.
No, I know, but like I was thinking like knowing Seattle, they're not gonna take either Johansson or Duchesne. They're
Because of the
gonna
cap, you mean?
the cap is just disgusting, and what they produce is not what they should produce.
Yeah.
And they're probably either gonna trade for a first line center or they're gonna go after someone in the free agency. So that's why I
But
didn't.
if that's the case, I mean, you have to think about who the free agents that are available in at the center position. I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm just saying
I
that's
don't know
what
that.
was my thinking.
What I would also consider is Ryan Johansson and then trading Ryan Johansson for another centerman that's better,
And taking on his cap
but
hit.
taking on the cap, yeah, and then trading a second or third or an extra asset or an extra prospect and trying to just upgrade that center. Because I think anybody in NHL takes Johansson at 4 or 5,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you're taking Domi at 5, you're taking Johansson at 5. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So most GMs, in my opinion, would take Johansson at 5 or at 4. So it's an easy guy to move, and it's valuable at 4 million. Like for sure, he's valuable at 4 million. So you can get some return, whether it's a first round pick or whether it's another centerman that can be an upgrade or whatever the case may be. I
Yeah.
think that he's a guy that I would pick just to have him on my team. So if he plays well, great. If he doesn't play well, you can move him. Pretty much anyone's gonna take him at 4 million. Even if he doesn't play well, someone's taking him at 4 million. The guy was elite for a little while.
Yeah. No, he was good.
Like he was very good. And he plays
Yeah, you
both
could
sides of
take
the
it.
ice. He scores. Yeah, that's what I would think. Who else were you thinking of on the Nashville Predators?
Colton Sissons.
Okay,
I'll take him. Nice contract, long term.
yeah, till 2020, 2026. That's a
Yeah.
very long contract.
But at 2.8, what he does, I'll take it.
Very reasonable. Yeah.
He's very good. He's
So
like to me, he's a better version of Paul Byron. Could play up and down the lineup, does everything, and he's fast. He's
and he's a
gritty.
little bit less expensive and
Yeah,
5 years younger.
way
So
less.
so because you're giving me a compelling argument, I'll put Sissons here, and we'll see how much space we have. If we have the space, I would personally value Johansson.
Yeah, I'll put
If
Nashville
if we
down.
if we have the cap space, so put Nashville down. We'll get back to them now. This one for me, super easy. I don't even know. I don't even think we're gonna need that much of a decision here.
Yeah,
For
Will
me, it's Will
Butcher.
Butcher,
Yeah,
110%. Great defenseman. They're gonna have to re-sign him next year, but I think he's great. He does a lot
or
of
like
good things on a bad team.
you could say Andreas Janssen, but he hasn't really.
He was okay with Toronto, but he's a third line guy. Will Butcher for
Yeah,
me could be a top 4,
yeah, no, Will Butcher. I'm good with that.
and he's played with them for a while, and that's on a not good team.
Yeah,
New Jersey has not been good for a little while, so we're talking about a guy that could potentially be a lot better than what his numbers show right now because he's
hmm
playing on a better team. Let's go Islanders. This one
Ireland.
again. This one for me. The reason I'm not taking that many wingers is because I'm taking Jordan Eberle because his advanced numbers are still very good.
Yeah, 31
And
years
I
old.
think, 31
Good
years
look
old.
ahead.
We only have him for a few more years. Worst case, deadline. Worst case, when he's UFA, you let him go. Whatever. For me, I don't even think there's much of a question.
Yeah,
Like you
I
look at
picked.
Jordan Eberle or Josh Bailey, they're $500,000 difference. and I'm taking Jordan Eberle 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, he has more skill. He has more skill.
He's got more skill. He's got more big game experience too, in terms of like when he was juniors and whatever too. Like he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's always been a good player, and I don't know. His advanced numbers are still very good. So
I took him. Yeah, I
I
took
would
him.
take Eberle. Here we go. Rangers.
Take
This
your
is another
buddy.
reason. So I was gonna
Take
say
your
this is another
body.
reason. There's another reason I wasn't taking a right wing is because I think Gauthier has got some room to grow. I think he can easily play on a third line, score some goals. Big body, hits a lot.
I think it's good that he leaves New York.
I mean, he didn't have a bad season.
No, I'm not
I
saying.
think he hasn't really fit in the right roles yet.
I don't think he had a bad. I think there's too many guys in front of him, man. There's so many guys.
Yeah, that's fair. Like he
The
can,
top
like
six-
for me, he can have a similar path to like Carrier,
Yeah,
to like William Carrier. You know, like he
but
just
but I
similar, but
find
Gauthier
he's
is
more
better.
skill. Yeah, he's better.
Gauthier has the potential to score 20.
Yeah.
That's the difference between him and Carrier. But I think they can fill the same role. Carrier got chosen from Buffalo to
Yeah.
Las Vegas, and now he's like a regular player. He plays
Mhm.
pretty much every game, contributes, big body, hits, knows what he's got to do, plays responsibly, all those things. I think that's what Gauthier could do, but he can give you 20 goals eventually in a year or 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that for me, it's a pretty easy pick considering he's $860,000.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Ottawa, oh boy.
Ottawa's very difficult, to be honest.
Oh.
Like, very difficult. I'm not taking Matt Murray. I know I mentioned there was another goalie on the list. Matt Murray is not the goalie that I'm choosing. Dadonov is a little bit too expensive for my taste, and so is Chris Tierney at 3.5. I like Chris Tierney as a player. Like, I really like him, but I don't know. I don't know if there's any other guys that you would waste your like a Dzingel or something. I mean, I don't.
No. See, I had Chris Tierney. I picked him, but I don't know. Pick Joey Decord.
Like, I literally picked Josh Brown, and I didn't even think twice. I'm like, just no cap space. He's a defenseman. Make him a number 7. That's it. But Chris Tierney is the better player, obviously.
Yeah,
he's a centerman. He's also got value. So worst case, that's another guy you can take 50% and ship him at the deadline because you only have him for 1 year.
Take Brown.
Just for the cap space. Yeah. We're going cheap. Like we're going cheap. Is it because you want Voracek on your team?
Yeah.
Yes? Is that why?
Here, if you don't take Voracek, you take JVR. But I would take Voracek.
I didn't take either of them.
No?
No. But that's crazy how you're like, absolutely. Let me see. I also didn't really look at their numbers, okay?
Well, Voracek, he'll put points on the board.
Yeah, Voracek is an elite player. Like, it's just he's older now, and his contract is disgusting. That's why.
You have to have elite.
JVR had 43 points also. Like,
he had a good season.
Like, I didn't think he had 43 points. If we're going to be 100% honest, I did not think he had 43 points this year.
Voracek, I think, struggled this year.
Also had 43 points.
Oh, okay. Wait, never mind. Yeah, he's a passer. Voracek's a passer.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I take him.
So it's either Voracek or Van Riemsdyk. Okay, Van Riemsdyk's contract ends in 2 years. Voracek's ends in 3 years. Yeah, let me go view a little bit of our team right now. And let me show you. Really, it was how many right wings we already have. Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot.
Now, these guys might not play, right? These 2 guys. But you have 3 guys that are pretty much top 9. You know, Eberle, Comfer, Sissons. And there's another right winger coming up that I would also take on my team.
Yeah.
Whether I flip him or keep him, I don't care. I'm taking him on my team.
I think they're
so flipping. I think I might lean towards Van Riemsdyk because he's cheaper and his contract ends earlier. And he scores more goals.
Didn't he get picked by Vegas?
No, I don't think so.
It was his brother. No, it was his brother.
Yeah, maybe. Like, he had 17 goals last year. Yeah. JVR is also another 20-goal guy. He could be a 30-goal guy.
Toronto.
Right? Yeah, but 30-goal guy.
Yeah, no.
He's 20 in a full season of 82 games. He's 20 goals. Like, he's almost guaranteed 20 goals.
He's in front of the net.
It's as good as guaranteed. He's 20 goals.
He scores in front of the net.
He's 32, but he hasn't really slowed down. I find Voracek has slowed down a little bit in terms of his skating and whatever, but Van Riemsdyk's game is not the same. So I didn't think he had. I actually picked Robert Haig because I actually like him.
A lot of people too.
But I think
Yeah,
We don't have
JVR.
enough left wings, and he gives you
Yeah,
20 goals. Like Niederreiter, same type of player, a little bit more expensive, but he ends soon. And again, anybody is taking JVR at 3.5 if you have to
take
move
him.
him.
Take him.
So for me, I think it's JVR. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Penguins.
Penguins. I don't remember who I took, so I'll let you go first because I actually do not
I
remember who I
took.
took.
See, I was debating between Jason Zucker, but a 5.5 for
Kind of steep, yeah.
yeah. So then I went with Marcus Peterson, like 25 years old at 4 million for until 2025. That's a steal. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
I mean, I'd have to
I,
like look up his.
he's a solid.
I
He's a
haven't seen
solid.
him play much this year either, so it's not a guy that I
He,
can.
he moves the puck. I could tell you he could move the puck. That's
Yeah, I
why
mean
I
he's
like.
25. He's also 25, right? So it's not like
Yeah,
he's
he's young.
old.
No, he's young.
Um,
He's not gonna score,
he's not gonna
but
score.
he's a moving. He can move the puck. That's what I like.
Yeah, I mean he had 20 points. He can probably get like 30 points, I guess, in a full season. 30,
Yeah.
35 points, which is pretty good. It's a point, almost a point every 2 games. So yeah, okay. I'll bite on Peterson. I think I took Tanev originally, is what
Yeah,
I think I originally did. I think just because of the cap. Um, oh yeah, I think that's just because of the cap or Aston Reese. I'm not sure who I took because I like Aston Reese as a player. I think he's just a little bit nasty. San Jose.
yeah. Here we use
Here I
our
burned one of my thing. Yeah,
yeah
I took Brian
Brian
Donato. I
Donato.
think he's got some potential, but I also think they could just trade his rights because he's
Yeah,
decently valuable.
yeah.
For me, I'm not taking Martin Schultz.
Take Patrick Marvel.
The only other guy is Simek, who's decent. I think he's a decent NHL defenseman.
Yeah,
But
but
we already have 10 defensemen on our team,
yeah,
and there's going to be a few more. So
I say Brian.
uh, I would say I would say Donato
Yeah. So now we
for
have
sure.
two UFAs left.
2 UFAs left. We don't need one because I'm taking Tarasenko.
Yeah,
I'm not asking
but
too
that's
many
good
questions.
because they
I'm
just
not asking too many questions.
well
This
they
guy
just
had like 90 points or something.
they just
How many points
protected
did he have?
that like exposing Tarasenko protects like Vince Dunn. I know that's not a
Barbashev or something too. No.
yeah, they protected Barbashev instead, but I'm just saying there's Vince Dunn that's there too. Put up
Yeah,
70.
this guy for me is elite. He's got potential to be point a game. He's kind of one of those guys. He kind of reminds me of Kovalev
Yeah.
in that sense. Like he can wow you a lot, and I think he's a guy that's going to give you 65, 70. I think
Yeah.
he could if he plays with the right players have like an 80, 85
There's
point
a point.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think that's how good he is. You know,
Like
offensively,
like
he's good.
I don't know. Vince Dunn.
He's like a less good Kucherov. That's who Tarasenko is.
Yeah.
That's who I think of Tarasenko as.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. The other pick, Scandella, because he's got less cap
Yeah.
than he used to have.
I would have
Not
burned.
bad.
I would have burned for Vince Dunn, man. I love him.
I would also burn for Vince Dunn. That's also another guy I would definitely burn for. But I think Tarasenko is just like.
Yeah. I don't know. You have to
And
take
again,
it.
anybody is taking Tarasenko on their team, even at 7.5. Like any NHL GM is taking Tarasenko. So if you have to trade him, you trade him. If you're too over the cap.
Tampa. Ah, here.
Tampa is just like who to take your pick. I mean, it's just a bunch of decent
Okay, so
players.
I had some a thought process on
Uh-huh.
Tampa Bay.
Okay, Patrick Maroon,
No,
so that you can win a cup.
no.
It's 3 in a row.
No, it's gonna be 4 if he wins again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's because it was 3 in a row.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying if like all the if all the GMs are like pissed off at Tampa Bay for being $18 million over the cap, if you want to screw them even more, like they've gotten screwed already with like Barkley Goodrow. They
I
got
think
back
I
to
know. I
7.
think I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'll pick Matthew Joseph.
Yeah.
Just for the cap, he's barely anything. He's an RFA still after when his contract's ending.
And I think the only reason
He's a good player.
only reason he hasn't played more is because there's people in front of him.
Exactly, and he's not a
Because they're
bad player.
18 million over the cap. Because otherwise, this guy's
Like
legit. He made a beautiful pass to Maroon
he
on that
played
play.
good. He played when he came in. He played really good. Like now, just think about it. Now that we're taking, now that we take, let's say they take Mathieu Joseph, they're forced to trade either
These
Palat,
guys.
Yanni Gord, Tyler Johnson, or Alex Killorn, and no one's gonna take.
And no one's gonna take those guys. Well, I mean, I can see guys biting on maybe a Gourd or a Kalorn, but
Yeah, but
not without Cap.
Tampa Bay's gonna have to retain Cap, and they cannot retain Cap, so they're
Yeah,
screwed.
yeah, that's probably what I would do too. Because I mean, you
Yeah.
also think the only other guy I was thinking of is Yanni Gourd. Really?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
not at
I
first.
would think about
No.
Yanni Gourd because I think he's just a fucking bitch to play against.
Yeah, but he's gonna run into.
Um, I don't know. I mean, he obviously on the team he plays on now, he looks amazing because he's
Yeah.
playing with guys that are amazing.
Yep. I would.
Um, but I would probably take Matthew Joseph because I think he's got way more upside than these guys,
Mhm.
offensively speaking. He's got skills. I've seen him play before, live in person. He's my age. I've never played against him, but I've seen him play. That's a guy that I would definitely have on my team.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only other pick I had was Yanni Gourd, but yeah, both for the fact that you said to screw somebody over, and also the
Yeah.
fact that like I'm taking less cap so that I have maybe the opportunity to pick Price.
Exactly.
So here we go.
Toronto.
Toronto.
I think it's an easy one
I think
here.
it's one. I think it's one of these two.
Yeah, but I, you know what? I'll take Kerfoot.
Yeah, that's also what I said too. He's more. It's more of a
Proven.
sure bet.
Yeah.
McCann, I think, is going to be a pretty decent player. I think that they really. I don't know what Pittsburgh did in that trade. To be honest with you, I think
They
they
got
got
back
fleeced.
a prospect and a
I
center.
think I think they got fleeced. The only other maybe is Travis Dermott. But I think he just makes too many mistakes, and I don't know if that's the system they play. I don't know if it's the pressure of being in Toronto. I don't know what it is. I think he just makes too many mistakes. Kerfoot is kind of a really solid player, very very good skater, like very good skater. That's why he's still in the league. Like he's just a very good skater. So that's why we think.
Vancouver.
So now we look. We've got our forwards. We've got our defensemen, and it falls pretty well because I'm taking Braden Holtby.
Yeah, obviously, at
100 times out of 100, this is what I'm taking.
Yeah, because there's really no one. There's no one here that I would
the
take.
only other person is on this team.
Yeah.
That you would take as a goalie,
But
and there's nobody else on this list either. I would take Jake Virtanen maybe,
yeah,
but we have
that'll
so
be-
many right wings.
Yeah, exactly. There's that we did a lot like Jake Virtanen, but even
I think he's got a lot more to show than what he's played last year.
exactly. But I think he has problems too. So
yeah,
think about that.
So
Yeah,
so we're already over the cap, okay?
just a little bit.
Yeah, so this is okay. Now we got two more teams left, and then we got Montreal. So
We
that's
still
what and we still have some picks that we can change. So we're gonna see once we get through. I don't know how long we've spent on here. To be honest, let me see here. We're approaching 40 minutes, I believe.
Oh, we're doing good.
So we're okay. Even if it's a little longer, I don't mind. It's a mock draft. It's not gonna happen for a long time. Another expansion, so I don't mind being a little bit kind of over our usual. Alex Ovechkin, no. I had two thoughts pretty much here. One of them is just take another goalie because he's valuable. He will be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's low against the cap. Or you take a guy like Justin Schultz, who can be a little bit more offensively, talented. Maybe he can run a power play for sure. Schultz, he's done it before in Pittsburgh. He doesn't do it in Washington because they have one of the best defensemen in the league doing it. But I think Justin Schultz has got a lot to give. I think Vanacek has a lot to give. He's a little younger.
We already have three goalies.
But we have three goalies, and if you're taking Vanacek, you're not taking Price.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no way. So for me, I would probably go with Schultz, but that puts us in cap trouble most likely. The only other thought that I had was maybe Connor Sheary.
Yeah, that was I was about to suggest that.
Because he's a left wing too. I don't think we have that many of them.
And the cap.
He's got really good in cap. So those are the three choices: either Sheary, Schultz, or Vanacek. I think I'll put Washington down because it's got some questions. We'll go Sheary, and then we'll move on to Winnipeg. This one is a no-brainer as well. I don't think anybody's going to argue that it's Dylan DeMello. Yeah, I not even close. I'm not even close to anybody else.
You take him? Wow,
yeah.
I went Mason Appleton.
Appleton's okay, but he's not top 6 or top 4, right? Like you think about guys who are top 6 or top 4. Yeah. Mason Appleton's like a fourth line player.
He was good on the third line.
Yeah, I know, but we've got 30 picks.
Yeah,
and we've got plenty of fourth line players on this team.
Okay,
so for me, it's not much of a question. Dylan DeMello, $3 million, 3 years left on his deal. And aside from the fact that he plays PK, and doesn't play power play. Like people say he's awful, he's got awful numbers. It's because he plays PK.
Yeah.
Evolving Hockey. I don't know if you know who they are. It's another Twitter account. Well, they have a website, Twitter account, stuff like that. They basically were showing the advanced analytics, and he's the best on his team, with even including all the forwards and all the guys that we think are amazing in that top six forwards. He's still better than them with stuff like Corsi and like goals for and expected goals against and stuff like that. If you take out the penalty kill, obviously penalty kill you're gonna get scored on. If you don't have a good penalty kill, doesn't mean he's not a good penalty killer. It just means that as a team they didn't have a great penalty kill that year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to. I think that's it. That's my justification for taking.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
It moves the puck, plays on the right side.
He has term left, so that's good.
He's got term left at $3 million. Very easy contract to swallow.
Yeah.
And again, worst case, you got to move him. Anybody takes him at $2 million. Anybody takes him at $3 million. Anybody takes him at 1.5. Like there's no.
Oh yeah.
No, there's no. For those of you who don't know the rules about trading salary and stuff like that, it's 50% is the maximum you can retain off of a player's contract. So when you say us shout out numbers, it's usually because it's half the amount of the total his contract. So right now we've drafted from all the teams except for one.
Montreal last.
So here's a few things. I would do this first. I would come here and I would go to my view team.
Yeah.
This is our projected cap hit.
So we have $1 million.
So we went over by literally not that much, a few million. We tried to do our best. We tried to do cap savings. There are still a few choices that we could switch out. Let me just remind people that the cap is 81.5. It ain't changing for the next 2 years probably.
Yeah.
So unless you are sure that Carey Price is going to miss the whole season, for me, you cannot take Carey Price. Like even if you want to go through different teams, let's go back. What are the teams we have on the list?
Detroit.
Who did we take? Stetcher.
Yeah.
I think we have enough right wings to say that we can take Stetcher, right?
Keep Stetcher. LA.
That was Lemieux.
Yeah.
Who was your other pick? I forget.
Wenger.
Oh, sorry, Wagner. It was Wagner or Lemieux. I can keep Wagner. No problem with that.
Yeah. Nashville.
Nashville was Sissons. And remember, we did not take Ryan Johansson.
Yeah, $8 million.
Even though I would take Ryan Johansson. So let's just, for the sake of things, say, okay, let's get ourselves a guy who can be a number one center.
Okay, now we go back to Washington.
Let's see what happens to the cap here. So we're already $3 million over the cap. We have to pick from Montreal still.
Yeah, Montreal.
What were the other ones that were
Washington?
Washington's the only one left of those.
Yeah.
The only other one that I can think of to take less is Philly, because that's a $7 million contract. That's 1.6. That'll probably get you under. But
we take Robert.
I think Van Riemsdyk is more of a sure bet than Johansson at this point.
Yeah.
And Johansson wasn't even on our team.
Plus, we still have 2 UFAs to pick.
Yeah, and you think about the UFAs are not included in the cap hit.
Yeah, so we still have 2 spots.
So and think about Drieger is going to be 3.5. So you got to think of the cap space that we had is actually a lot less. It's even more in the negative because there's like an extra $3 million that has to go to Drieger. What did we say in Washington? Either him or Justin Schultz.
Yeah,
right?
or Schultz.
I mean, I think you have to take Shiri at this point.
Yeah,
I think or Vanacek. Because if you're not taking Price, might as well take a fourth goalie, right? And you move someone.
So you move the goalie.
It'll save you an extra $15K. So that goes there. Let me go back to Nashville because I guess we're not taking Johansson, right?
No.
Like where else could we find this cap space? The only thing I could think of is a few teams that we took defensemen where we could take cheap forwards.
Yeah.
So let me put in. Who did we say here? Sorry.
Colton Sissons.
Sissons. So we took Sissons. Now let's go to Montreal. Okay. What would you do? Because a lot of this we did this kind of in the reverse of what Seattle's probably going to decide, right? Because Seattle's probably going to have to decide first
on Montreal.
On Montreal.
We decided them last. So Seattle's either going to have to go first with Montreal and build from Montreal out, like build with Carey and out, or they're going to have to come to Montreal last, and whatever is left is left. That's the
they can do something like I would suggest and take Phil Danault.
Yeah, and burn.
And burn one of our things, or
I was
take Shea
about to say
Weber
that.
and pretty much guarantee LTIR for the rest of the season. So
Yeah,
that buys you an extra $8 million of cap space.
yeah.
One of the two. That's probably what I see. I mean, maybe they can take Kulak.
Nah, why would they do that? They have
Very
so many.
very versatile player. I like Kulak a lot.
Yeah,
Maybe
but they
take
have so
Fleury.
many of them.
Maybe take Fleury.
I don't see. I look. I say take Dano.
I would probably burn one and take Dano.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't have that rule where they have to burn one. We have
No, no.
that
We're
rule.
just.
I'm
It's just.
just saying that that's likely what I would consider is
Yeah.
taking Philip Dano.
Fuck, man. To lose Dano for
So
free.
so yeah, but think about it. They also have to sign him. So now you're thinking, okay, they took
No.
Dano instead of Price. They still have to sign him,
Yeah.
right? They
It
still
kicks
have to
out.
sign Alexiak, and you
Yeah.
have to add 3 million to Drieger.
Yeah.
So now you're saying we have 2 million in cap space left. Yeah, but no, we don't really, because there's an extra
Uh-huh.
3 million for Drieger. You're already over the cap, and there's an
Yeah.
extra 5 or 6 for Dano because that's what he wants, 5.5. So we have to find a way to cut out some cap space.
And it's
Okay,
the big guys. It's our
it's very
forward.
it's very difficult. So it's either the forwards here, right? But how can you pass up some of these guys? That's the
Yeah.
question. So what, Kerfoot? Can we take McCann and save? Like you're shaving very very little off of cap. So the only other thing I can think of is not taking Mark Giordano.
Yeah. And what the fuck do you think?
Right? Exactly. So now we go back, draft a team, go back here. Who are you taking from this team?
Brett Ritchie.
Like who exactly are you taking? Brett Ritchie?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a waste of a pick. Like I'd much rather take Mark Giordano and move someone, right? I'd much rather take Mark Giordano and move someone because at least this guy's 1 year removed from a Norris, not 5. It's not Subban. This guy 1 year removed from a Norris, so it's not like he can't play. He can still play. It's just a matter of what are we gonna do with the extra cap space or
Hmm.
the lack of cap space.
Yeah.
Basically, the only things that I could see that I would actually think about doing is Ryan Johansson, but then you gotta eliminate a serious amount,
Yeah.
or Carey Price, and you gotta eliminate a serious amount. This team, this team right now, as it stands, even with like 2-3 million over, I can trade a few pieces.
Oh yeah,
We
you
have
could.
plenty of pieces that we can trade here.
Like
Plenty of
Tarasenko.
pieces.
I think they're gonna
Tarasenko,
flip
if you
him.
really want to move him, you can move him. I think they would keep him as a player because one, it puts butts in seats, right?
Yeah, you're postal
And
boy.
two, he's a pretty good player. Like he's gonna help you win a few games. So I mean,
Well, look at
that means Tarasenko, basically Tarasenko, Domi, and Van Riemsdyk as your first line.
yeah. Let's say
Eberle, Niederreiter, Kerfoot, right? That's where it would be amazing to have Ryan Johansson, because then you're like Johansson, Tarasenko, Van Riemsdyk,
yeah.
Domi, Eberle, Niederreiter, and then your third line could be either Kerfoot or Dano. But Dano at $6 million is not going to be a third
Yeah,
line
no,
player,
no, no, no.
right?
I don't see
So
like
so even then, do you take Dano? Because like if you're gonna have these centermen, Domi, Kerfoot, Gergensons, Mathieu Joseph, like you got to load up on centers. I get it, but can you afford to pay? You can't afford to pay Philip Dano right now for $6 million.
no, no.
That's
I
the
don't
thing.
think they take.
With the team that you have.
If that's the case, I don't think they take him then. Maybe they take him
So
and trade him, but like even he's a UFA, they don't own his rights, so
yeah,
can't
exactly.
really.
So
You're
as,
not
so
gonna
as
get
soon as as
anything.
soon as the free agent first date comes out,
He's
someone
gone.
else can sign him. Right? He's
Yeah,
gone.
exactly.
Same with Alexiak.
Yeah.
So this is kind of how I would probably construct the team, and then just kind of move pieces in and out. For me, I think it's way too expensive to take Carey Price. Like way too.
Doesn't.
I would much rather have Braden Holtby at 31 at 4 million.
Yeah. So you could at least load
Like if
up.
I'm starting a team, right? Like
Yeah.
and he's UFA next year. So worst case, again, deadline, move him. If you know that Campo Kakinen or Vanacek or Drieger, if you know that one of these guys are going to be a solid number one for 2-3 years down the line, then you can move Holtby. But Holtby is a guy that won a Stanley Cup. I'm pretty sure won a Vezina as well,
Yeah.
and it's a guy that was, in my opinion, a little while ago was probably the best goalie in the league when Price
Yeah.
wasn't
He
playing.
was up there. Yeah. He was
Right?
top
I
five.
mean, he's top 3, top 5 easily,
Yeah.
without even a question. Like people were like, Braden Holtby's in the conversation for best goalie in the league.
Yeah.
every year, year in, year out. I think it was 3, 4 years in a row that he was in that conversation. So it's a guy that knows how to play, right? Is he Carey Price? Nobody's Carey Price, right? But this is a guy that won a cup too. He knows what it is. He knows what it takes. That's another thing that we kind of didn't consider is guys who've won cups. Now there aren't
Yeah.
many here aside from
No.
Mathieu Joseph, right?
Uh,
I believe that's it.
Tarasenko.
Oh, Tarasenko, sorry, Tarasenko, Joseph,
Yeah.
and I believe Braden Holtby, and I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
So it's valuable experience to have 3, 4 guys like that. Guys like Mark Giordano, it's valuable to have on your team. And if you look at this team, it's guys that are either in their prime,
Yeah.
just past their prime, or getting into their
Under.
prime. I mean, you
Yeah.
have guys that are 23, 24, 25 years old that are getting into their prime. I think of Maggi Joseph especially, Gauthier especially. Those guys that are going to be getting better. You have 3 goalies under the age of 30, and
Yeah.
one goalie who's a very solid guy.
Yeah. He could
He
still be a
he
starter.
did not play bad. He did not play badly in Vancouver this year. They just didn't have a great team. Didn't have a great system,
Yeah.
and got injuries that weren't really helpful. So I think this is how my team would look.
No.
I'm pretty happy with this, to be honest. The only other thing that I would think of is instead of Phil Danault taking Kel Fleury
Yeah.
because he's
But
22 and
you have 11 defensemen, so
listen, Vegas had an obscene amount of defensemen. I
Yeah.
think they had like 13 defensemen when they picked something crazy like that.
Yeah. They moved 4 guys. They flipped 4 guys.
Yeah, let me see. Golden Knights expansion picks. Let me just refresh everyone's memory. I think Wikipedia will probably have it, right? Shout out Wikipedia. Oh no, I don't need protected players. I need the guys who got picked. Oh, no,
Yeah.
it's Trevor. Yeah, you're right. Trevor was the pick.
Yeah. They
So
are.
let's see how many defensemen they had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 13 defensemen.
And they
So
flipped.
we're only picking 11 in this scenario.
Yeah.
And Braden McNabb's still with the team. Sbiza's not. John Merrill's not.
No.
Garrison's not. Eklund's not.
No.
Englund's not. I mean, Colin Miller's not. Mark Mathod is not. Schlemko definitely is not. Griffin Reinhardt isn't. Alexei Emelin isn't. Stoner isn't. Van Riemsdyk isn't. Nate Schmidt isn't. They have 1 defenseman left
Yeah.
of those 13. So you think about these guys, all guys that can be moved, all of them, if need be. These are all NHL defensemen. Like every single one of these defensemen are NHL defensemen. You only need 6, 7.
Yeah. So you can move. You can move like
So you
4
can move up to 4 of these guys for picks, for assets, for other players, and
picks,
not have an
4
issue, right?
prospects. For
Yeah,
sure, gonna load up on prospects. That's for sure.
exactly. The forwards, well, I mean, you have guys that you can trade, like I said, and you can get more than one piece for, you know, pretty much anyone's taking Jordan Eberle. Pretty much
Yeah.
anyone's taking Tarasenko. Pretty much anyone with a little bit of a cap reduction is taking Van Reeves. Like, again, all these guys are tradable. The reason these guys are being taken on this team is because they're probably tradable. Right?
Yeah.
That
The guys you can
other
move.
other GMs would have them on their team. So yeah, I mean, I think this is the look of the team. We'll post this. We'll see what you guys think on Twitter, and I guess if you're here and you're commenting, comment what you think. What players you would move, or what players maybe you would pick instead of doing anything else. Would you pick Carey Price? I actually just don't think they can. I think
Yeah.
part of the reason,
Salary, man.
if I go to look at Carey Price,
Salary cap is just crazy.
yeah, I think part of the reason that Marc Bergevin, and apparently it was Carey Price's idea initially. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but
Do you think he's actually hurt?
yeah, I think he is.
I don't think Carey's the type of person that would say faked an injury and then so he could protect Allen. I think Carey would say the truth.
No, I think if anything, he's like, oh, I have an injury, protect
Yeah.
Allen, so at least you have a goalie,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
work out a way for me to stay, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Because I think it's kind of 2 ways that I was thinking about it. Either why not just protect Price anyway and just give them the assets for Allen, and make sure that they can pick Holtby and not Allen, or don't protect Price and his negotiations will be less expensive because he's $10.5 million.
Well,
So will be more willing to take a little bit less, like a third round pick or a fourth round pick or a third and a prospect instead of taking a first and a prospect.
apparently there was a deal in place with Seattle.
For Price, you're saying?
Yeah. Apparently the deal was that, well, I on Twitter, like a lot of people were like, was going around saying that Seattle was gonna take Price, retain half of his
Oh
salary,
yes, 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 and then
and
trade him
trade him
back to
back to
Montreal.
Montreal for prospects and picks. Apparently NHL said no, you can't do that
Yeah,
because it's like tampering or
yeah.
some sort of
Cap
illegal shit. Like,
circumvention is what they said,
fuck
which
off.
I don't see how really that's cap circumvention when you think
Yeah,
about Andrew Ladd getting traded for
yeah.
literally nothing. Literally, they said, "I'll give you not even a water bottle back,
Well,
not
they
even a
gave them
bag of pucks."
they gave him a second and two conditional
Yeah,
picks.
but on the way back was nothing.
Oh yeah.
Arizona did not give up anything. They just took picks and took the player,
Yeah.
right? You think about Tampa, 18 million over the salary cap. I get it; it's playoffs, it's different, but that's definitely cap circumvention in
Yeah,
some way, shape, or form. It is. Teams have done it before. You know, people that basically trade their players to Arizona because they can't afford their contract. How is that
for
not
real.
cap circumvention? Right? They're
Arizona's
trading
like the
players
hub.
that aren't they're trading players that aren't even playing,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Well,
yeah, sure, we'll take your contract. You know,
they had Datsuk. They had Datsuk. They had Chris Pronger at one point. Now they have Andrew Ladd on their.
but that's what I'm saying. Like something like that where like I don't get the logic because someone would argue, oh well, at least you're giving them assets. Yeah, but to trade him back to Montreal at 5.5, you'd still be, getting trading assets for him. You'd probably be trading more assets for him than for
Yeah.
anybody else. You
Like
know?
I think we were probably gonna have to give up a first or a second, a first or 2 seconds, and a prospect.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's the situation. I don't. I mean, obviously, I would
Yeah,
understand.
that would be such a funny situation.
Yeah,
Seattle select
but
Carey Price, and then we traded him back to.
we have a trade to announce literally the next day. But I mean, I don't know. I could see why. Obviously, that's kind of making a fool of the expansion draft a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
And I guess more than anything, the NHL just wouldn't be happy about it.
yeah. I think Bettman is like, nah.
From what I also understood, um, Seattle's owners gave Ron Francis permission to pick Carey Price.
Yeah,
So
like they
because
said,
he's got 11 million to be paid, they have permission to pick him.
no, that like,
Again, Mitch Garber from Montreal. He knows
yeah,
Carey Price. He knows that he can be a poster boy for the team.
yeah,
So
because of the $35 million in signing bonuses. Well, he had to get like the owner said, "Don't worry about it. We'll pay him.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry about that. We'll find the money."
The only other thing that, like I said, we didn't think about is drafting the other way around. So I think that's something that maybe if you have time tonight, I think I'm gonna do it like right now as soon as we finish.
Yeah,
I'm
draft
gonna
some
start
Kevin.
with Carey Price,
Yeah,
and
and then work
I'll
your way.
see what kind of team we have, and then we'll see which one is better. I'm almost guaranteed sure that it's gonna be this team that we just picked is the team that I would rather pick. But
I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna do it too.
we'll see what picks we come up with like really low cap. It'll be interesting. It'll be a fun exercise. So we'll do that. We'll put up the current team. So let me read out the names for you: Tarasenko, Van Riemsdyk, Eberle, Domi, Niederreiter, Kerfoot, Comfer, Sissons, Gergensons, Wagner, Fisher, Gauthier, Mathieu Joseph, Phil Danault, Ryan Donato. As forwards, a defenseman: Mark Giordano, Clefbaum, Marcus Peterson, Will Butcher, Dylan DeMello, Troy Stetcher, sorry, Hayden Fleury, Josh Brown, Jeremy Lauzon, Jamie Alexiak, Nikita Zadorov, and goaltenders Braden Holtby, Kaapo Kakinen, Vitek Vanacek, and Chris Drieger. Chris Drieger obviously has pretty much all but been
Yeah,
confirmed as a pick already. So that is our team. We will post it up. It'll probably be like our pinned tweet or whatever. It'll be
yeah,
those three pictures. And then, Franco, whenever you're ready, throw up yours with Carey Price, and I'll throw up mine tonight,
yeah, definitely.
and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks for joining us, guys. It's been a long episode. It's good to talk to you guys again,
fun. It was fun.
and we'll see what happens on Wednesday.
We'll see
This
how
should
many. We'll see how many
go.
picks we get right.
Yeah, how many picks we get right. Yeah, that would be interesting too. We'll kind of maybe we'll make a little checklist and see if
Yeah,
we're right on any of the picks. I think we'll be right on quite a few of them. I think we'll be
yeah, I think
surprised that like we'll be pretty good. I mean, there are some guys that I can imagine they would pick just because of the low cap hit or because they don't
yeah.
have to re-sign them. But that's for me, that's a waste of a pick. So anyway, I don't want to get into that too much. Thank you for joining us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment how dumb we are as GMs or how brilliant we are as GMs. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Franco, thanks for joining me.
No worries, man.
We'll talk again soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.